Spotlight. I'm your show host, Barbara Ragland, and today we have the privilege of interviewing the first elementary school principal in Windsor. I've interviewed the superintendent of schools, the acting superintendent of schools, and the principal of the middle school, but I've never had the privilege of interviewing an elementary school principal but I think this is a privilege. So today I'd like to interview the principal of Pequannock School in Windsor, and his name is R.J. Sullivan. Welcome to Spotlight, R.J.
Thank you, Barbara. The privilege is mine.
We're glad to have you. Where is Pequannock School?
Pequannock School is in the northern end of town, in the little Pequannock Village area, right near. We have a restaurant nearby and a church across the street, and a little post office right in the Pequannock Village.
Okay. What's your student population?
We have just shy of 300 students in grades 1 through 5.
Okay. So I take it that you're a Connecticut resident, lifelong?
I am. I've lived in the Hartford area my whole life,
Okay.
up through high school and now throughout my professional career.
Have you been a principal in other schools too?
I have. I've been a principal here at Pequannock for 4 years now. Prior to that, I was a principal for 2 years in the Berlin School District, and before that, I was a vice principal here in Windsor.
What about your teaching experience?
I did my teaching. I came to teaching as a second career. I was a banker for 15 years and worked in the banking industry and decided that I wanted to do something different, something working with children. So I went back to school at night and became a teacher and worked in Manchester teaching elementary school there.
Do you like it better than
I love it.
handling
Much
people's
better.
money?
Yeah. Money gets boring after a while. Not having it, but
Yeah,
counting it.
It really does, yeah. So what's your population in your school?
We have about 300 students, as I say, in grades 1 through 5.
5, yeah. Okay. So I understand that you're going to have some transition going on in the Windsor elementary schools system. So tell me about that a little bit.
Sure. We're actually been going through the transition for some time. We are transforming from 5 elementary schools down to 4. Currently, we have the 4 elementary schools, grades 1 through 5, and the Early Learning Center at Roger Wolcott for pre-K and kindergarten. And we are now moving to 4 elementary schools, 2 of which will be kindergarten to 2nd grade, and 2 which will be 3rd to 5th grade. Oliver Ellsworth will be one of the kindergarten to 2nd grade schools, and they'll also have pre-kindergarten there.
What does it mean for your school?
For my school, Pequannock will become a kindergarten to grade 2 school. So we'll be with the primary students, with the younger students, and we're very excited about that. We think it's going to bring a lot of opportunities for staff and students to improve our practice, and we're very excited about it.
So what do you have now?
Right now we have the grades 1 through 5. So next year, when I look at the 300 students in our school right now, only about 80 of them will be coming back next year because our 2nd graders, 3rd graders, and 4th graders will all be going on to probably Clover Street School. And just our 1st grade students will be returning as our 2nd graders. And the kindergartners from Roger Wolcott will come and be our 1st graders, and new kindergartners will come to form our kindergarten.
And you will still have the same student population?
About the same, yeah. We'll have, right now I have 3 classes at each grade level, 1 through 5. And in the future we'll have 5 classes at each grade level. So we'll have more students at each grade and about the same number of total students.
Will that require a change in the way the school is set up?
We don't have to move walls or anything like that. What it will change is really the people who are in the school with the students. So some of the professionals will be changing schools just like the students are. We've gone through a rather lengthy process over the last 2 years of planning the reorganization. And as part of that, we spoke with teachers throughout a fact-finding mission about what their preferences were for placement and what their experiences were and we ended up replacing teachers for, kindergarten through 5th grade. And some teachers are staying in their same building and some are moving to others.
Well, the teachers that express their preferences, so if you have like a 4th grade teacher, she would move. Suppose the 4th grade teacher said, well, I think I want to teach 1st grade.
We did have some movement like that. We did have some people who wanted to change grade levels. Some people, I think the biggest change that I know of is I have a 2nd grade teacher who's going to be teaching kindergarten. And we have other teachers who've changed by 1 or 2 grade levels as well.
Now the teachers especially like the second grade teacher that wants to teach kindergarten, that might require some training. Have you
Mm-hmm.
done some training, or will they be going through that this summer?
We've done quite a bit of that. The biggest change that's been brought about all of this, the exciting part of the biggest change is that we're going to have full-day kindergarten now. Traditionally,
Yeah.
Windsor Public Schools has had half-day kindergarten, 2.5-hour sessions per day, and now we'll have full-day kindergarten where the students will be with us for 6+ hours every day. And what that requires is us to rewrite our entire kindergarten curriculum, because now that we have students for a longer period of time, we have to have a curriculum that will meet their needs for those extended periods of study time. And we've had to actually adjust curriculum as we move up into the higher grades, because we'll have students who have a more rich and full kindergarten experience. So because of that curriculum writing, we've conducted workshops all across this year for teachers based on their next year's assignment. So teachers were released from school on certain days and substitutes in the classrooms to allow them to become familiar with the new curriculum for their new grade level. So that was one of the ways that we've done quite a bit of work with that.
What about lunchtime?
Lunchtime will be different next year,
Yes.
in that kindergarten students have not traditionally had lunch.
Lunch, right.
So we are looking at how we're going to have to revise our cafeteria procedures a little bit, because we're going to have some students who it's going to take them more time to get used to the procedures of how to order a lunch every day, how to get through the line, and those types of things. And also now I won't be able to seat all the students in one grade level in the cafeteria at one time. So we're going to have to stagger our lunch times a little bit differently. But a lunchtime experience will still be pretty much the same. It's the nice downtime during the day for kids.
Do you think you're going to have, you're probably going to have to train those youngsters on how to order a lunch, or would they have a preference of what they want, or just the lunch that's available for that day?
No, it'll stay pretty much the same way it is now. Right now, we do have a lunch choice every day. There is a hot lunch choice and a cold lunch with it, which is either a sandwich or a salad every day. And the students choose between the two, or they bring their own lunch from home. And that won't change. And students get used to it pretty quick. So we should be okay there.
When I was in Hartford and a member of the district PAC for Chapter 1 or Title I, do you have any Chapter 1 or Title I students in your school?
It's not Title I students. It's a school that's designated as Title
Yeah,
I. And it's based
yeah.
on the free and reduced lunch formulas. But yes,
Yeah.
our schools will be Title I schools next year. And what that does is allows us to provide certain additional services through the funding that comes from the federal government through Title I.
Okay, so that means they would have free or reduced lunches.
That's not really part of the Title I, but yeah, that
Yeah.
is part of it, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's part of the program.
Parents apply for that at the
Yeah,
beginning
at
of
the
each year.
beginning of the year.
Yep.
So what happens when they come and you give them a coin, or their name is on a list, or that's taken care of in the office?
It's all
and
taken care of in the office.
so
It's not something the
it's
students
not-
are even involved in.
They're not
Yep.
involved
Yep,
in it.
it's taken
That's
care of by
very
the
good.
cafeteria staff.
That's very good. So for the students that are kindergartners, how are you breaking up that day?
Well, a typical day is going to be a little bit different than we're used to with our upper grades, because we have to, as you say, break it up during the day.
Yeah.
So we will have, we'll certainly have the rigorous curriculum where students are involved in language arts every day, the reading and writing, math, science, social studies. But at the same time, we're also going to have time, because we have to help them develop social skills and personal management skills. How do I manage my body in space around other people, and all of those things? We have to help children learn those things. We're used to now at Pequannock, we have students arrive on our door who've already had a kindergarten experience, so they've had
Right.
some of that
Yes.
work already. Now, for many of them, their time with us in kindergarten will be their first school experience. So there's a lot of that social learning that will have to go on during the school day.
You might get students that have come to you that have had a pre-K experience.
Oh, many,
So,
and
yeah.
we're hopefully
that's
most, but
good.
many will, yeah.
Yeah. During part of breaking up the day, and probably in the upper grades too, do you still have recess?
We still have recess all the way through grade 5 now, and we
Okay.
will have recess for students. It's 20 minutes per day. We try and schedule it right near the middle of the day. The other thing we do is we try and schedule it right before their lunchtime. The idea being, if they can get some exercise before it's time to eat, they tend to eat more, and they're better fueled for the afternoon learning.
And so what do they do after lunch?
After lunch, it's right back to the regular school day, whether it be they may go to a special area class like art, music, gym, or to the library, or it may be continuing on with math instruction or reading and writing, depending on how their teacher schedule is for that day and week.
So they go right back to the classroom?
Yep,
Okay.
just as we do now with first grade.
Okay, so that's pretty good. some schools, like when I was in Puerto Rico for a couple of weeks while I was in the Commissioner of Education's immersion program for teachers, 30 teachers he chose from Hartford. But when I visited schools, the children came in and they ate their lunch, and then they went outside and played basketball or had an activity like that for maybe 20 minutes, and then they went back to their classrooms. So
We
go ahead.
We do it actually the exact opposite, because through research that people have conducted, the finding has been that students who actually exercise before lunchtime, they certainly have a snack at some point during the morning. We do have a short snack time where students bring a healthy snack to school, and
Do they do that?
Yeah, they do.
In kindergarten, but all the way through.
All the way through. And what they do is during, while they're working on some independent learning activity or something like that, they will have their snack just to get them through the morning time. And then the idea is when they engage in that physical activity before lunchtime, we find that they eat quite a bit more. And as I say, they're better fueled for their afternoon learning. What we find is if they go to lunch before recess, they're so excited about getting out to recess, maybe they eat the ice cream but not the lunch, or the dessert but not the whole lunch, because they want to get outside as fast as possible.
Do you have supervisors? Or
we have supervisors in the cafeteria, yeah.
Okay.
But teachers are the ones who do the actual recess duty outside.
Yeah, they take their own classes out.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. So that sounds good. I was concerned about the transition from like a pre-K to or just to an all-day kindergarten. And is this the first year? This is the first year you're going to have that.
This will be the first year that we've had kindergarten in our school. Yeah, I had kindergarten in my schools in prior districts.
Yeah.
But never had the full day kindergarten. And we understand that our students will take some time to acclimate to a long school day like that. And we'll have an understanding of that and built in, kind of a break in activities as we go through the day so that students can make it through the entire day.
Yeah, I'm thinking a nap, or a relaxing time.
We'll have a downtime. I wouldn't call it a nap time, and we're probably not going to have the rugs and all, but it's definitely going to be a downtime where students can slow down a little bit and engage in some of those social learning activities that we've talked about. That would be the time to do that.
So what are your hours?
Our hours are, school day will be 8:45 a.m. to 3:15 p.m.
Okay. That's kind of a long day.
It is a long day.
Yeah,
Even when you're the principal, it's a long day.
Will your students be bused in?
Yes. Students and their parents will receive information over the summer about their bus routes and where their pickup and drop-off locations are for bus stops. And, our goal is to get as many students as possible on the bus, because then we know where they are, on their arrival, on their way to school and way home. We want to offer bus transportation to as many students as possible.
Oh, so the parents will, if they don't particularly care to put the child on the bus, they can drop the students off?
Can drop the students off. All the schools have, certain areas where there is an ability to drive up and drop off, and we actually at Pequannock, we have adults who actually greet the students as they come out of the car to make sure they're safe coming into the school, into the parking lot, and we can kind of monitor the car activity so that we know the students are safe coming into the school.
8:45. What time do the teachers have to be there?
Teachers have to be there around 8:25,
Yeah.
8:20.
That's not bad.
No.
That's not bad. And how long do they?
Most are there much earlier.
Yeah. Trust me, I know.
Yep.
What about after school? How long do they have to stay?
Teachers stay about a half an hour after school, but again, most stay longer. It's a pretty tough job to prepare for each day.
Tell me. And then go home and keep it up.
Yep, and go home and do the work that needs to be done at
Yeah.
home to get ready for the next day as well. Yep.
Definitely. So what got you interested in, you wanted to get out of banking?
I enjoyed it, was successful, but I wasn't sure it was the right career for me.
So did you look at other careers, or you just thought teaching would be it?
I thought teaching would be it. I attended college out in the Midwest, and I had done a student teaching course while I was in college, a kind of introductory to elementary education course, and I helped out in an elementary school 2 days a week during that semester, and I loved it. My sister had been a teacher when I was younger, and I had spent some time in her classroom and enjoyed that. Yeah. So I thought I would give it a try. I took my first education course while I was going to, still working during the day, and tried it at night and loved it and haven't looked back since. Very happy with the decision.
How about Windsor?
I love working in Windsor.
Happy being here in Windsor?
Very much so. I I did my teaching in Manchester, and I attended the University of Connecticut for an administrator preparation program, and was placed here as an intern at John F. Kennedy School with Sheila Way, who was the principal at the time.
Okay.
And knew right away that I had found a district that I wanted to work in. You know, the teaching staff was outstanding that I worked with. The people that I met throughout the district I was very impressed with. And I was fortunate to gain a job as the vice principal at Oliver Ellsworth while that happened. So I was able to come here, and very happy to be here.
Yeah, we're glad to have you.
Well, thank you very much.
Do you have any, is it a group decision on all of the transition, or do you have input on how you want your school to function? Or is it just the K through 2 will function this way, and the 2 through 4 will function this way? Do you have the ability or the privilege to put your own input in?
Certainly,
in your school?
I certainly have the ability to put input in, as it is, you know, I'm responsible for the leadership of the school, and staff certainly has input into those types of decisions. But our goal is, and has always been when we've been involved in this reconfiguration, is to make the school experience in one classroom in a school very, remarkably similar to the school of experience of a student in another school. So we want second grade at Pequannock School to look like second grade at Oliver Ellsworth. We want fourth grade at John F. Kennedy School to look very much like fourth grade at Clover Street School. So as an elementary team of administrators and school leaders, we've been meeting, we've been working on this reconfiguration for about 3 years now. And there's been a lot of discussion about how we should come to, you know, agreement on how certain things are going to be done. So really, when you look next year at a school schedule at Oliver Ellsworth School, it'll look very much like the school schedule at Pequannock, so that the students are getting the same type of experiences across those two schools. That's our goal. Certainly, because there's different personalities involved in the two schools, there'll be, you know, some things that are different, but our goal is to make it as similar as possible.
Male versus female principals, what do you have?
Well, I'm the only male principal. Well, we have an interim principal at Oliver Ellsworth now who is a male. I'm the only, next year I will be the only male elementary school principal.
Yeah.
But I don't know that there's a dramatic difference because of gender.
No,
you know?
but I was just curious because I didn't know there was a male principal at the, you know,
Here I am.
in Windsor Elementary Schools. I didn't, because someone suggested, call one of the girls in the elementary school principals, and I'm saying, then someone had visited your school and suggested that I call you.
I'm
So
glad
I
you
said,
did.
Fine.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about your?
I think the big thing is just to let people know how excited we are about this reconfiguration. You know, from my understanding of town history, the Board of Education has been hoping for full-day kindergarten for, I believe it is something for about the last 12 years, has been trying to find ways to get it accomplished. And now, because of we are in a declining enrollment environment in Windsor as our student population decreases, it's given us a cost-saving advantage to be able to do that. And I think the level of excitement that people feel, not just parents, not just and townspeople, although that's so important that they've bought into it and truly believe that it's the best for our students, but the excitement level of the teaching staff and the school leadership team is palpable. We're all very excited. We think it's going to make a tremendous difference for our students to have that great first year of school in a full-day kindergarten. We think it's going to make a huge difference, so we're very excited. And as I say, we've been working now for about 3 years on reconfiguring and figuring out what are the best things we need to do to get ready for that. We're involved in a lot of transition activities this year. Traditionally, we've had a great program run at Sage Park to get students ready for middle school. They do a short-form summer transition program to help students be ready for it for the following school year. And we're doing that same thing this year, not in the summer, but during this school year with students. All the students by the end of May will have visited the school they'll be going to next year. So students that are going from Pequannock, let's say, to Clover Street School will spend a half day over there getting to know the school, getting familiar with the school building and how to get around hallways and things like that, meeting some of the staff who will be there next year and getting an understanding of what that school experience will be like. Students who are coming to Pequannock next year will be coming this month, you know, for a half day to visit our school as well to get an understanding of that. So we're doing a lot of that. We're offering open houses this month, or excuse me, in the
Great.
month of May, for parents to come and have an opportunity to walk around the new schools and see where, where all the hallways go and see what the facilities are like and get to meet some of the staff. And we've even sponsored throughout the year, our PTOs in the schools have sponsored joint activities. So we've had many Clover Street parents come to Pequannock for evening activities. We've had many Pequannock parents go to Clover Street School for evening activities, just to help, again, make people more familiar with what the world will be like next year. And so far it's been very successful.
Have you identified your special education children that you're going to have next year?
Yeah, that won't change. I mean, students who've been identified in need of special education services will still get those services, and we'll start looking at class lists and how we're going to move, have students be grouped for the following year, and certainly that will be part of that, and where staff needs to be to help meet those student needs as well.
Yeah. So what's your population for special ed in your school?
Right now, we have about 30 students that are in in need of specialized education services, and we'll take a look at where students will be next year and how we need to share those services across schools for next year.
I know speech has been identified a lot. How about that for you?
We have speech and language professionals in each of the buildings, and we'll continue to next year. And again, that'll be determined based on caseload of where those folks need to be. But there certainly will be, just like the special education staff in each building, there'll be speech and language staff in each building too, to provide services.
And they will probably take a student out for an hour or whatever.
Yeah, depending on what the student need is. A lot of that we like to do in the classroom now as well. And speech and language professionals also provide support in the classroom as well. So we do a lot of that. And same with special education. It's not so much, removing students from a classroom as it might have been, 20 years ago. Now it's more doing as much work as possible in the classroom.
So that they probably will, are you saying that they might have an aide or a para to work with them while they're in the classroom?
That sometimes
during
happens, and sometimes,
periods?
yep, there's times when it's a paraprofessional and times when it's a, a certified staff member as well.
Okay. So they would be trained.
Oh yeah, always have been.
I know that.
Yeah, no different from how we've been working up to this point.
What about your kindergartners? Have you identified any?
We already have, the last numbers I heard is we have over 40 students, I think heading right towards about 50 students registered for Pequannock, and I believe the numbers registered for Oliver Ellsworth are over 80, 85 students.
That's a lot.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We
expect...
for special ed?
No. Students total in kindergarten.
Oh,
Students
no,
total
I was
in kindergarten.
about special ed.
Oh, we'll go through all that. I'm not going to, really get into numbers.
That's what I was asking you about. Have you identified you're going to have this many special ed students coming into your school?
Yeah, we'll know. Before we
That
place
have-
students, we'll know all of that
You
information.
don't know yet.
I don't have all my students registered yet. I can't know it.
Okay.
Yeah, but once we do, we'll have all that information. Yeah.
I know that, a certain time of year students have to register for school. It's April, right?
We would
I'm
love
not so far behind the time.
Yep. No,
Yeah.
I would. If there's one message we could have
May.
carry out of the show is that anybody who has a student who will be of kindergarten age next year, we'd love to have them register as soon as possible.
And
We will be conducting kindergarten orientation sessions for parents and also kindergarten screening, which allows us to get to know the students a little bit. And we do health screenings and academic screenings during that time to help us understand what student need will be when we open next year.
okay.
And that's going on this month in May. So we would love
It
students.
starts in May. And what's the cutoff dates for age for kindergartners? Is it December 31st?
No, it's,
What is it?
I don't have the exact dates with me right here, Barbara. I'd have to look at the chart that I have taped to my desk, and I don't have it right in front of me. So I'd rather not comment rather than make a mistake.
No, but I know when you like if you were born December
Right, and
before December 31st, you could be a into kindergarten. That's always been kind of
Yep.
what's been going on. I
Yep.
don't think that's changed.
no, I don't believe it has.
And
But as
so
I say,
if
the
you were
chart of who's
born-
when, I don't have with me.
No,
so.
but I say, and then if you were born in January or whatever, then
You'd
couldn't
wait a
get
year.
into- You'd wait a year, maybe go to preschool. So that's what I was kind of asking. It's still a requirement, and it's a state requirement for the students, the parents, to bring all of the medical information.
Yes.
Proof of
have,
shots and
yep,
all. That's good to put out
yep,
there. So
yep.
that they,
All the health information, the forms, when you register, you'll be given a form that needs to be filled out by a doctor. It has to be within a 1-year time frame from the first day of school. So
Okay.
we will open August 28th, 2012, which means the child's last physical has to have been within after August 28th, 2011. And the doctor will fill out all the information and get it to the school, and it has to be received and approved by the school nurse before the child can start, before the first day of school. Yeah.
proof of shots and all of that.
But I mean, it can certainly come in over the summer and all of that. We
Oh,
understand
good.
that.
That's good. That's
As long
good.
as we have it by the first day of school, students can start. But if we don't have the information, they'd have to be held out until it can be completed.
And I know that the first month, I would say month of school is hectic because of that, you know, parents bringing students in and, you know, the shots and the, you know, the information that's needed and, you know, and all of that's supposed to be done by, what is it, October 1st? You've got to have a
Well, all our
31st.
student counts have to be completed by October 1st, but
yeah.
quite honestly, in my 6 years as a principal, I don't remember many cases of students not being able to start school on time, because usually the information is out there for parents, and all they really need to do is call the schools, each of the individual schools, and we can give them the information they need, and it can be, you know, achieved before the school year starts. So generally, we have most of our students start right the first day of school without issue.
That's good.
It's
because
great.
that federal funds depend on it.
Well, it's not just that;
Yeah,
it's
a lot
child's
of stuff.
education counts on being at school.
Yeah,
We need
yeah.
we need students in school for them to be able to learn. So.
So are you excited about the
I am very
transition?
excited. I think it's, you know, it was hard for me to leave the idea of a K to 5 school or a 1 to 5 school, but the more we talked about it, the more excited I became. Our current school board has long had a goal of all students reading on grade level by the end of grade 3, because research is very strong to suggest that students who can read, you know, appropriate grade level material by the end of grade 3 have dramatically different outcomes, educational
Definitely.
outcomes as they go
I've
forward
seen
in
that.
life.
seen
And
that.
so for me, to be in a K to 2 school where we're providing that foundational educational experience for students, and really doing a great job of that and getting students really squared away before they leave that second grade is going to make a great impact on us achieving that goal. So I'm really excited about it. Staff's very excited about it. You know.
When, and was it 78, 80, when I was education coordinator for Head Start, we put Head Start into Windsor, and so that was a preschool.
Preschool programs are
Program.
very, very important.
Extremely,
Yep.
and it was kind of difficult for us to get it across in Windsor because they had never had it before. So I really think that that's extremely important.
I think you'll find that the current Commissioner of Education very much agrees with your view,
Yeah.
and that he's made that a very clear priority, it seems. Preschool education.
What are you doing about your parent involvement?
Well, one of the things, as I say, we just had the other night a kindergarten information night. It was just 2 nights ago. We had a great turnout among the folks who've already registered for kindergarten. And what we did then was kind of take them through the screening and orientation process and really what it takes to get ready for students for that kindergarten year. What we'll do now, because that information night has already gone by, is as each parent registers, we'll be contacting them directly by telephone and getting them into the school. And coming to see us and getting ready for those screening and orientation appointments as well.
So you have organized PTA? Or
We do. We
parent-teacher
have
meeting?
organized PTO, and that was one of the things to talk about over this past year was that how are we going to configure PTO, because we're in shorter schools now. We don't have the 5-year span, and we decided to go with the individual PTOs for each of the schools. And we just had elections the other night. We filled most of our officer positions. We still are looking for some folks. But our PTO at Pequannock School has been very, very active in our school community. They've done a lot of great work providing programs for students, raising funds to allow students to do such things as purchase extra books at book fairs. They've done some great things for teacher recognition for our teaching staff and for our other staff members. So they've been very active and very much an integral part of our student success at Pequannock. And we hope to continue that as we move forward.
I like your enthusiasm.
Oh, it's fun.
I mean,
it's a great job.
The students that come to your school and the parents and all are lucky to have you.
Well, thank you.
Because
I'm the lucky one.
Yeah, but I'm so glad that you're there.
Thank you.
And what really makes it good is that you tried another profession so that you really know what you want to do and how you want to help the students, so you're not bogged down with, maybe I should try something else, you know, am I going to do this forever? So I like that
Oh,
about
no.
you.
I'm going to do this
So,
forever now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I appreciate that.
Okay.
And anytime you want to come back and give us an update on
You
what's
betcha.
going on,
Oh, we'll come back next year after we're open.
we said, I'll have you back.
That'd be
okay?
great. Very good.
Thank you for coming, RJ.
Thank you, Barbara. I appreciate it.
Okay. Boy, Paquonic School is going to have a great time. And they got an enthusiastic principal, and I hope the parents really get involved. And I know they will because of past experiences. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about the new transition that's taking place in the Windsor schools. And we're so pleased to have R.J. Sullivan come and tell us about his experience and what to look forward to in the Windsor schools. So this is Barbara Ragland. Until next time, be good to yourself and others, and look up RJ. If you live in his district, you can register your students. But I have one more question to ask you.
Sure.
When parents want to register their children, do they register them at your school or at the Board of Education?
No, it is at the Board of Education offices at the L.P. Wilson Center.
Okay.
And there is a registration office right inside the front door, or they can call 860-687-2000.
Okay.
Press 0, and then they can ask for the registration office.
Okay. Thanks for that information. I think
Okay.
it's important.
Yeah, I'm glad we got it out.
Come and see us again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Barbara.
Okay.